Okay, hello everybody, this is Cube Show here. Now then, this is going to be part 11 to What If Deku Had Delsin abilities. Now then, this took me a minute to try and record because I kept getting interrupted. Now let's go. When we last left off, Deku and Uraka had fought Kirishima and Todoroki in the Heroes vs. Villains. Now then, what we're going to be picking up from is them walking back into the room. Deku would walk back in, and he's still somewhat confused, asking Uraka more about her abilities. As she would try and brush him off and tell him that, just please stop trying to question it. Shinsho would immediately walk up, saying that it's pretty weird that his abilities seem to mimic everyone else's. But as he holds out his hand, it immediately just sparks with fire. He would say that he wants to know one thing. Exactly how much of a conduit's abilities can you copy? About all of them. It's just I need to learn how to use them. Oh, really? Well, that's good information to know. As he just walks away. Deku is confused as he's thinking, why is he so interested in conduits? Is he one? No, I don't think so. He just calls his quirk fire manipulation. As Deku's thinking about this more, he would just leave it at that. Now then, this is going to be the USJ attack. Everyone is talking and actually thinking about what's going on, and they're on the bus. People are asking Deku more about his abilities, even though he's a conduit. Asking if he can copy quirks or if he can do anything like that, all that fancy stuff. Deku would just say no, and in fact, he has to make physical contact with the person and essentially touch them with his hand. As he got set next to Uraka, he would just say, oh, I basically need to do something like this, as he takes off his glove and touches her on the arm. Basically not thinking about it, as he would immediately go into his trance as he sees the bombs going off, and Uraka basically touching as much stuff as possible in her house to essentially bring it in front of the blast. As he immediately gets blown away, and he finds that he just saw everything that happened to her. As soon as this happens, he basically comes out of it as he's somewhat gasping for air, as everything around him begins floating. People are somewhat confused, and everyone on the bus that knows about this, they immediately stare at it, just saying, oh, Deku, you're using that one now. Yeah, I guess I am. I didn't mean to switch to it, though. Jeez, dude, how many abilities do you actually have? I'm not sure. Now, as they would get off the bus, this is whenever Deku, he would immediately pull Uraka aside. He would just ask what's going on and what was up with that. She said she has a quirk. She never said she was a conduit. Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about. As Deku just says that he knows telekinesis when he sees it. In fact, he saw everything. The day the bombs fell. The day she tried barricading herself in that room. Trying to protect her parents. And what happened to her dad afterward. She's even more confused, saying, wait, so you know then. Yeah, it's kind of hard. My parents just we all tried playing it off as, oh, my quirk just got stronger that day, or anything like that, but it was not even close to the truth. Just please don't tell anyone I'm a hybrid. I'm not going to tell people, but I think everyone else that on the bus might think about it now. But you're lucky Todoroki spoke up. As he walks back over, everyone would see Deku and he immediately just nods his head, basically putting their suspicions at rest. As that would happen, this is when Deku and everyone will actually walk into the USJ. Now, Deku is somewhat trying to switch back to his other abilities, but just thinking about telekinesis, it's somewhat hard to try and figure out. Now, after that, Deku is also trying to work on switching over to a different ability. As he sees a neon sign down below, thinking, oh, he can switch to that, or he could just switch to cement. So, while he's going through his head, the actual attack would happen. Now this time, the Nomu, it was actually pumped full of Quark Enhancer, making it from a mid-tier Nomu to somewhat of a high-end. Basically, its super strength is off the charts and actually above All Might, along with its absorption and its actual regeneration being far higher. Now, as the villains would arrive, Deku, he would see this and they would all try and rush in to actually help. Before that could happen, Kirige would teleport everyone and they would all be falling. Deku's falling through the air as he's trying to think, telekinesis, how do I do it? As he brings his hands out, and he at least is able to slow himself down with the air ability. As he's coming down, he sees Uraka falling along with quite a few other people. Now, who's on the boat with him? Froppy is still on the boat. Uraka is there, but let's also say that Toru, or let's say Toru's there. Now then, they are all asking what's going on and how do they essentially get off the boat. Deku would just say that they could try swimming, but he's not sure Neon would work here. And he immediately thinks, okay, does anyone have a piece of paper? I think I have something in my pocket. Hang on. As she would pull out a piece of paper, Deku doesn't bother reading it as he absorbs it. After that, he immediately just starts somewhat flooding with paper, and he just tells everyone to stay close. As they all crowd around him, Deku just immediately just teleports them over to shore by just forming a tornado of paper and dispersing it all around. After that, everyone is left somewhat confused and dazed, but they are still alive. Now, Deku, he is even more intrigued now. He has more abilities, and as he's thinking about this, he's thinking he just needs to learn, essentially work on some of these now. As he's more confused, this is whenever Shigaraki would walk up with the Nomu, and he would just say, oh, I've heard of you. You're that conduit boy, right? Well, my boss wants to meet you. As the Nomu begins walking towards Deku, he immediately just throws paper at it, and this somewhat confuses Shigaraki. Paper spikes aren't going to do anything against this thing. Oh. Okay, well, at least let me try one other thing, as he brings his body close to the ground, absorbing the concrete. He immediately just pushes down the ground as concrete begins coming out through the Nomu's legs. The Nomu is not reacting, and Shigaraki would just say that that's not going to work. This thing was made to kill All Might. Deku would go on saying that he knows he's just stalling for time. What do you mean you're stalling for time? As Bakugo comes in, he's just thinking, okay, don't break, as he smashes the Nomu in the chest, meeting its shock absorption. As instead of just taking the hit and dispersing it slowly, it actually redirects the hit straight back at Bakugo, cracking his hand, or cracking one of his fingers. Now, I want to place Bakugo around 25% of One For All, but he's not able to use it properly, so I want to say that punch is probably around 5% or very, very low. Now, this is whenever... Okay, now then, this is whenever Todoroki and Shinso would actually arrive, along with Kendo and Uraka. People are watching as all these people are basically facing off against the Nomu. Deku is immediately thinking that he needs to at least find something that could help, as he sees Todoroki throwing ice and surrounding it, along with throwing fire at it. As he's encasing the Nomu just steps forward, and Kirishima sees that the shrapnel is still in its legs, as he hardens his body and immediately covers himself in a giant armor. Now, what I mean by this is, he basically does one thing I think he would absolutely do in the situation. He encases his entire body in armor, basically making himself a giant golem. Basically like he's wielding a mech suit. And as he does this, he would actually run forward and actually charge in. As he does so, the Gnome would go to throw a punch, but I want to say Kendo would be able to throw an air bullet, blasting its hand somewhat off course. As he would dodge the hand as it breaks through the right shoulder, Kirishima would actually try and punch it in the face, being met with more shock absorption. Bakugo would immediately charge in, and he's just saying that, "Hey, hardened dumbass, get down." As Bakugo would immediately get point-blank range into the Nomu's chest, pulling the pin on the back of the bionic arm, and immediately letting off a powerful blast. As soon as that happened, Deku, he is trying to figure this out as he changes over to Smoke and immediately begins helping. He's throwing as much blast and trying to take out its eyes with as much power as he can. Let's say that he's able to take one out, and he would actually keep doing this by just shooting it in the eyes and trying to at least cover it in smoke. Now, he would immediately tell everyone that he needs help. He would just tell Kendo and Bakugo that, as high as you can, I need you to throw me up into the air. Bakugo would immediately just say okay, as he charges up an explosion in his hand, and he would throw him through the air. Deku immediately just tries bursting off with his smoke, and this is whenever Kendo would actually give him an extra push by forcing the air underneath him upwards. Deku immediately just switches to air as he's able to absorb the force she's putting behind him, and Deku immediately just goes higher and higher and higher, breaking through the glass of the USJ, and immediately just feeling himself stop. As he switches back, he immediately just thinks, okay, Neon, this thing was able to be stopped by concrete, so Boulder, as he's absorbing the rock in his hand, and what would it be good? Boulder and glass, okay. As he grabs one of the glass shards nearby him, absorbing it, he immediately just smashes into the ground, encasing the Nomu and impaling it through multiple layers of rock and glass. As he does so, Todoroki tries covering the area with ice, along with Shinso actually trying to help by covering it in fire. People are watching as his arms are entirely layered with fire, just like Todoroki's ice. Todoroki would see this and notice it, and he would immediately just say, "Huh, we thought we were the only conduits." Huh, well, not making it easy. Question. Answer. Okay, smartass. Why isn't he using your ability? He doesn't copy mine. So what? He just copies abilities others let him copy? Well, yeah, actually. So, whenever he copied that chick on the bus, that was by accident, yeah. I noticed it too. we were able to play it off, but as the Nomu immediately just breaks through, as it is told by Shigaraki to basically attack. The Nomu starts moving, breaking some of the cement at its joints as All Might arrives. All Might would see this, and he's telling them to get down. Or he's at least saying that they all need to attack with lethal force. After seeing that it's not reacting to anything Deku's putting and throwing at it. As they all begin, Shinso would immediately just throw as much fire at it as possible, as Todoroki would do the same, sandwiching it in 2 firefights, basically. Along with Deku actually using electricity to strike down the Nomu as much as possible, and everyone's just laying into it. Bakugo, he's just standing there confused, thinking he needs to help, but All Might would just tell him that he's done enough. But there is one thing, as Uraka, she actually does link up all their minds. She just says, "Sorry, All Might, but I'll explain later," as they all begin coordinated attacks. All Might would actually be able to take out the Nomu with the help of all these students, being less injured and actually trying to pay attention to the villains now. As that's not working, the villains would escape, and All Might would still have to explain more about what's going on. Okay. Now, this is going to be a bit tricky. Whenever they all get back to the US, well, they would all get back to class later that day and go over that, hey, you guys are going to have 2 weeks. Also, All Might would like to speak with these students, as he names all the conduits, along with Shinso and Uraka, saying that those two, they helped in particular, and he would like to talk with all of them. People are just thinking, okay, so that was kind of weird though. But it was pretty impressive. Yeah, actually, I can't believe it. As Ibarra would say that it was pretty crazy, but she's still so surprised. What does Deku even call that move? I don't know. But he was using 2 abilities. I didn't know people could do that. Well, you gotta think about it like this, Todoroki says, before he walks out of the room. As he holds up one side, revealing fire, and he shows the other one off, being ice. People are really impressed, and asking what is that. He would just say it's like his dad always wanted him to have 2 quirks, but it'd be classified as 1 quirk, so a half and half. So just think about it like that. It's not really that hard, but it might be challenging for Deku. What do you mean? Well, you basically have him using 2 powers in it, trying to rip his body apart. As Deku would confirm, yeah, that was a bitch to do. Now, this is whenever All Might, he would actually confront Uraka and Shinso, asking them why aren't they essentially registered as conduits, or at least why doesn't Nezu know they're conduits? Uraka would explain that after what happened, she kind of had to lie. In fact, her parents were so concerned for her that they sent her to the city. They were at the bombing in this city whenever it happened. Shinso would just confirm that he was also in a bombing, but he was at the one in the city a couple years ago. In fact, do you remember when that one block was on fire? As he rolls up his sleeves, revealing the scars. He would just say that these are from that. Not just that, I was kind of smart with what I did. I am also a hybrid. Really? So what's your actual quirk? As he would immediately just see Deku immediately stops, and Deku is just not talking. People are asking what happened to Deku, and Shinso would just tell Deku to cluck like a chicken, or bark like a dog. Something stupid. As he would just say that his actual quirk is brainwashing, and this is whenever he would walk over, smack Deku in the face, and he would snap out of it. Deku would immediately retaliate by bringing up his hand, but he just asked what happened. Shinso would just go on saying that he gave an explanation, and he also showed off his quirk. Also, you're a fucking dumbass. Well, nice to meet you too, asshole. Anyways, how far have you gotten with your conduit? Oh. Well, I do train it, but I haven't really learned any special abilities. Oh, really? The sports festival's coming up, and I think we could all teach you some things about your own. But usually, I'm kind of a hands-on learner. So you want to copy my conduit? Well, actually, yes, I do. It's really cool. Pyrokinesis and telekinesis? I'm gonna have to ask you guys a lot of questions about these. Yurako would just go on saying that, oh my god, I did not think this would ever happen. Alright then. As Deku, he would be told by Shinsho that he can try training him, but he will not allow him to copy his conduit until after the sports festival. Because that would just give him a leg up. So at least teach him first. Because he doesn't really want Deku to have that ability. Since Deku would just respect this, saying that, alright, Todoroki. Well, I'm sorry. You're kind of one of the strongest guys in the room. Besides those two. Now then, that is where I'm going to be leaving this part off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm going to reply to that person in my Discord.